high-tech oils, available from Auto One, Sprint Auto Parts, and all leading independent auto stores.
It's a mix of all things retro and contemporary on today's show. Sydney Motorsport Park is the venue, and we kick things off with round 4 of the Shannons Nationals, featuring the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. Then we wind the clock back to yesteryear, where motor racing's rich and colourful history is on show. It's the 2015 edition of the Retro Speed Fest. This is Speedweek. As the outright battle for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge rages on between Ryan Simpson and John McCorkindale, the battle for supremacy in Class B is just as interesting, with two young rookies from Queensland fighting it out. Having wrapped up the class honours at Winton recently, Aaron Seaton is on a mission to hunt down class leader Jackson Evans, who currently leads the battle by a solitary point, heading into this weekend's round at Sydney Motorsport Park.
Yes, there's quite a bit of pressure this weekend between me and Jackson, because it's only 1 point in the championship and it's very close, and just to get that little bit ahead will ultimately help at the end, so just to get in front would definitely be a help for the end of the year. The quality of competition is pretty good in Class B. Obviously it's me and Jackson at the front fighting out pretty hard, and all the other guys are following and just waiting for us to make a mistake, and they're quite close on our heels and they're keeping us pushing hard.
After a successful karting career, 20-year-old Jackson Evans dived into the deep end quite literally at the start of 2015 by joining the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. Whilst he currently leads his class, Evans has had to quickly learn and adapt to the new circuits he's visited so far.
I think consistency will be the key, like being on top of each circuit, obviously a new circuit each time I go to them, as I haven't done any car racing before. But yeah, I think consistency will be the key. Obviously Aaron is our main rival at the moment. Like Nick Creswell dropping out after the first round is a bit of a shame, but I suppose that's racing. And then obviously there's Brian Finn, who's pushing both me and Aaron along as well, so it's good. It would mean a lot, like my first year in racing, and I'm in a good team. I've got a good crew behind me, so it would mean a lot. First year out of go-karts, and yeah, that's our main aim for the year.
It's the third round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge presented by Pirelli here as part of round 4 of the Shannons Australian Motor Racing Nationals here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Matt Nolte is my name. Joining me is Richard Crail, and again, my friend, we've got some awesome racing from this one-mate class.
Hey, Nutty, it's been an unbelievable year for the GT3 Cup Challenge so far, and this one should be a cracker. We're one race down already this weekend. On Saturday night, we had the 30-lap Jim Richards Endurance Trophy race, round 2 of a 3-round Enduro series. I'll tell you more about that in a minute because it was pretty dramatic. Ryan Simpson leads the standings, however, coming into this weekend in front of John McCorkindale. Some challenges a little bit further back. John Goodacre leads the Elite Division over Jeff Emery and John Caratinos. And the Class B fight we saw at the top of the show between Aaron Seaton and Jackson Evans is one to watch. But Saturday night, 30 tough laps, Ryan Simpson had the race shot to pieces. Unfortunately, a collision with a lap car broke his rear suspension. He was forced out. Dylan O'Keefe got the flag first, but was penalised for rolling at the start, which meant James Abella won his first ever Porsche race and his first ever Porsche season. He led home John McCorkindale, Jeff Emery, O'Keefe and Ryan with a personal best top 5 result, and that is the grid for race 2.
Yeah, it was a great result for James Abella last night in that mini enduro race style. We've got a big field of Porsche GT3 Cup cars down to likes of Brian Finn and Tim Miles, who start off the back for this one around here. It's a beautiful day, so jump on board with John Goodacre, the Gap Solutions GT3, set for a start here at this beautiful Sydney Motorsport Park.
So watch the blue and white car right from the very back of the field. That's Ryan Simpson. Abella, the Horsley Park gunshot car, slow away and struggling to get off the line from pole, and he's going to be lucky to be in the top 10 by turn 1. Good start McCorkindale though. He leads them up the hill for the first time.
John O'Taylor on board right now as he finds a lot of brake pad down here at turn 2. Cold tyres, cold morning here, but a beautiful day nonetheless. The cars come out of this sequence of turns. The 69 machine of John McCorkindale searching for his first win of the season in the Porsche GT3 Challenge.
Good start, John Goodacre as well, up a couple of spots. There's Ryan Simpson. Look at him scything his way through the field. He's passed half a dozen cars already, if not more. Unbelievable start by the man that dominated at Winton and had the 30-lapper here shot to pieces last night. Goodacre looking back to the Dexion driver, Dylan O'Keefe at 17, qualified second in qualifying here at Sydney Motorsport Park and had the pressure on Simpson the whole way in the 30-lap of the Jim Richards Enduro. There's Simpson. Look at him carving his way through the field.
Sam Shaheen a bit further back. He's got a few cars stacking him up there. That's inside the top 10. So back on board this time with Scotty Taylor in the Scotty Taylor Motorsport entry, car 2. Grabs a gear on this downhill section of Sydney Motorsport Park, then this slight right, then the reverse apex to the left. It's quite a tricky sequence of corners through here.
It was a really good drive last night by David Ryan. That's him there in car number 5. The Rightlands Property Group 997 GT3 Cup car. Stormed his way through to the top 5. Took advantage of some attrition, but nevertheless a very, very impressive drive. Personal best Porsche result. He's 5th. Behind him, Abella in 6th. There's Evans in 7th, and Ryan Simpson about to take that position away, remember, from the back of the field.
Too wide through turn 1. I don't recommend it, but somehow he made it pay off. There's your leaderboard at the bottom of the screen right now. And a man to keep an eye on, Ryan Simpson, the Parramatta Smash Repairs entry, carving his way through the field. Sam
Shaheen in the middle there, and the Farmer Gin and Ice Coffee HTFU Racing entry from South Australia. Had a good chat to him before this weekend. Really excited for what's been a very consistent season. But he said the game has moved on so much in GT3 Cup this year. You know, they're going a second and a half a lap faster everywhere than they were last year. But not much has changed. They're on the same tyre and the same spec cars. The competition is just that much tougher. John O'Taylor, another one of our great new rookies this year. He's been impressive, and he's behind that car of Sam Shaheen we were just talking about.
Hard at work. He sits a lot closer to the wheel than most of the drivers do. This time, he lines Shaheen up, but Shaheen just defensive down here at the hairpin. Back to the leader, so McCorkindale just starting to move away now from Jeff Emery. Spent a stint in the development series in the recent past, the 5-time Commodore Cup champion. These days we see him behind the wheel of a Porsche.
Yeah, he's got great speed in that Southern Star Windows car as well. Now liveried to match that of his good mate and teammate Ross McGregor, who's running a little bit further back in the field this weekend, but those two great friends and rivals from the Commodore Cup days where they ran a 2-car team. It's great to see them back together racing now in slightly faster cars than Commodore Cup cars, it must be said, but still equally close racing. This is Simpson. He's on the back of James Abella. Brilliant victory last night, and the whole Macarey team was celebrating because of it. And how's this? 3 wide up into turn 2. Great move. And it shows Ryan Simpson's ability to get the car stopped and turned in on tyres that are still coming up to temperature. Here's a look at the start from John O'Taylor's perspective.
Well, it wasn't the greatest to start. Plenty of revs, but going nowhere. He lost at least 5 or 6 positions on the run here to turn number 1. You can just hear the revs. And this is the pass just a moment ago from Simpson. Let's get 2 birds with 1 stone here.
How's the commitment, Matt? Down the inside, off the racing line. Just so confident that he'd get the car stopped and turned in. That's brilliant driving. And good heads-up awareness there from James Abella and Davey Ryan. He's just having a moment in the background for giving them racing room and letting him go through. They know he was significantly quicker, and he's now on the back of Dylan O'Keefe.
And suddenly he's in the top 5 and in contention. This is amazing.
It's a huge drive, Matt. Remember, all of these cars, at least those in the outright class, are identical. That's the whole idea of Porsche One Make Racing. Everyone's in the same mousetrap. You just got to do a better job of getting it around the racetrack, and that's what Ryan's doing at the moment. Great shot from the back of the Gap Solutions racer. Goodacre has struggled just a little bit this weekend for speed, but he starts doing the job, and O'Keefe launches one down the inside and wrestles P3 away, and Simpson follows him through. Meanwhile, out in front, John McCorkindale under some pressure from Jeff Emery.
John Goodacre is busy at the moment. Abella's all over the back of him. Simpson has gone up another position. Dylan O'Keefe, who's in the foreground of that shot, has had a moment here.
Big moment, and off the road in a big way. With that really fast change of direction. Well, it's easy to run wide there and have some issues, but I wonder if there's something else to that. Because it didn't look like he was overly offline or it was a mistake, but he's off the road and it looks like out of the race. A really, really promising weekend.
Oh, look at it.
Yeah, left rear corner. That's broken rear suspension. That's more than just a tyre down. Emery grabs one. Speaking of tyres, 6 brand new Pirellis allowed across the course of the weekend. This is that great move. So O'Keefe got down the inside fine. The car was absolutely perfect there. Had a bit of a slide mid-corner. Goodacre was just a sitting duck as these two came storming through up the inside.
Goodacre thought better to sit out of this. He had the line coming out of here, and Abella fancied a shot here, but it'd be on the wrong side of the course. And here's the moment for O'Keefe. Number 8 Dexy on entry, hits the grass, and his race is done here in race 2 of the Porsche GT3 Challenge.
I wonder, Matt, if he just had a hit from someone earlier on in the race in those frenetic opening couple of laps and it put the tyre down or broke something in the rear suspension. What a shame. The youngster doing a great job. He's got Stephen Richards here working on driver coaching with him. Tony Bates, the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia racer, heavily involved in that program as well. It's a great program, and he's a superstar, that kid in the making. Speaking of, there's proud dad watching Aaron on in that battle for Class B with Jackson Evans in the Gen 1 997 Porsches. Here they are going up to turn 2. Seaton leads the way. This has been compelling. They swapped the lead about 3 times in the 30-lapper on Saturday night. A really good race from start to finish.
So wind their way down towards the end of this race. Nice 3-car battle further back in the field here right now. What a shame for O'Keefe that was. In a very strong position. He's got a lot of work to do for race 3 coming up soon.
Well, Ryan Simpson's shown you can come from the back of the field and make an impact. McCorkindale still leads. He's doing a good job. He torched a tyre in the race yesterday, so he's down 1 on his allocation, but he's not too concerned about that, John, because he's made a bit of a habit about being fast on old tyres. He said he really struggles for balance on new rubber for whatever reason, but when the tyres are old, that John McCorkindale Racing Porsche, looked after in part by the Buick Motorworks stable, is very, very good. He's got some new sponsorship on the bonnet of that car, TE Connectivity. Heavily involved in the Formula E Championship in IndyCar racing this year. Great to see new sponsors getting on board. Ryan Simpson's going to get to his rear bumper bar here, but he's going to be about a lap short to complete a remarkable last to first drive. Still, I think you'd take last to second.
No, absolutely. Nonetheless, he's on the back here with just a handful of turns remaining here in race 2 of the weekend at Sydney Motorsport Park. Best on-ground performance for Ryan Simpson. John McCorkindale, 5 second places so far in the championship this year, is going to move up 1 to take race 2 this weekend with just 1 turn remaining.
It'll be his first race win of the year. Ryan Simpson's driven brilliantly from the back of the field to second, but McCorkindale down the long straight and flashes the lights. The family team gets a victory in front of Ryan Simpson in race 2 at Sydney Motorsport Park. That's a very good win, and it just continues to keep McCorkindale in the mix. This is Scott Taylor. In front is the Class B battle. Look at Jackson Evans just looking down the inside of Aaron Seaton. So Seaton's teammates got a good perspective of all that. A little bit further apart than they were at Winton when they KO'd each other in the final race. And this is going to be close to the line. Simpson second, but Seaton will win Class B with Evans second. There's the results. Great race.
Yeah, McCorkindale, nice job. First win of the season. Simpson from the back up to second. Emery fell down to third. James Abella, who won last night, finished in fourth down to Goodacre. And Taylor over the page to Evans. Tim Miles got up to 11th down to Jim Campbell, and Brian Finn down there in the 16th position. The 18 cars that finished this race today.
To be honest, I didn't see him till the last little bit, but at the start I was just conserving my tyres. Unfortunately, we cut a tyre at the start of the weekend, so we're conserving tyres all weekend, so we can have a good crack in the last one. So the last 2 laps to go, I gave it a bit more squirt, and we were able to hold him off.
His first win of the year was a satisfying one for John McCorkindale. There's one more Porsche race to come from Sydney Motorsport Park. The drivers are getting ready, and so are we. We'll see that race when we come back the other side of this.
We're back at Sydney Motorsport Park, warming the tyres up for the final race of round 3 of the Porsche GT3 Challenge, presented by Pirelli. Beautiful afternoon conditions here, and can Ryan Simpson break through to take another round win?
Well, he's got all the pace to do it. He's broken the lap record a couple of times already this weekend, Matt Nolte, but he'll do it from the front row alongside John McCorkindale in this third and final race of the weekend. We are staring down the potential too of 3 different race winners across the course of the round. Shows how competitive it is. Watch for Jeff Emery and James Abella. John Goodacre always fast off the line, goes from the third row, and that great battle between Aaron Seaton and Jackson Evans for the Class B rivalry will go from just at the bottom end of the top 10. Tim Miles worked his way up to 11th from the back of the field in race 2 in the Autobahn car. Watch for him to work his way forward in this one. A big field of Porsches, a great day at Sydney Motorsport Park. It's not real warm. It'll take a couple of laps to get tyre temperature up. We're underway in the final race of the weekend.
Beautiful start from the front row, absolutely perfect. And it's going to be Simpson will get the jump into turn 1. So he's got the whole shot already. And I fear for the rest of the field right now because he was strong from the back of the field until he got a couple of car length lead here as we head to turn 2.
John, good start. Goodacre got round the outside too and got to P4, so he's got ground.
Ooh.
Look at Ryan, had a big slide up the inside at 2. Looking to get one on James Abella. Couldn't quite do it, so good start from Goodacre. He's worked his way forward a little bit. Emery in there as well. There's Jono Taylor. Scott Taylor, no relation, just behind him in the STM car, one of 2 in the field. And Taylor goes down the inside, and I think David Ryan had a little bit of an issue there because he dropped a bunch of spots going into turn 5.
You can see the drivers have got more confidence on cold tyres. Don't fool yourself, the sun may be out, but it is Arctic-like here today at Sydney Motorsport Park. We're on board with Scotty Taylor now as he works his way down behind the back of the old corporate hill.
Ryan Simpson disappeared up the road already. This is so important, the opening lap in a Porsche race, because you need to stay in touch with Ryan Simpson early. That's what we're learning this year. And they've got Mike Henry working for that team this year at Sonic Motor Racing on their Porsche program in both GT3 Cup Challenge and Porsche Carrera Cup Australia. Mike Henry, the former boss of the Holden Racing team, hugely experienced engineer and guru behind the scenes in motor racing. And he said to me earlier in this weekend, Ryan's just got this great ability to extract the maximum from a car when the pressures are down, the temperatures are low, and they put a lot of emphasis on that in the Sonic camp to get the most out of it. And Simpson doing the job behind the wheel. He leads McCorkindale. Emery third and holding on to a podium spot in front of John Goodacre, who's harassing the back of the Southern Star Windows car. Some movers and shakers already. It looks like Tim Miles up a couple of spots.
And Dylan O'Keefe is halfway through the field as we're on board with John Goodacre, who was caught up in that big battle for the minors. Oh,
whoa.
Yes! It's still cold out there, putting his best sprint car move out of turn 2.
What's funny, these 2 drivers come from almost similar backgrounds. Jeff Emery running a V8 Commodore Cup car, John Goodacre running a 6-cylinder Commodore in saloon car or Super 6 touring car racing. And here's the start. This guy launches a Porsche better than anybody in Australia and gets a couple of spots already on the run down into turn 1.
Impressive. He rounded up Emery, who had the better line going into 1. Had to relinquish the position by the time he got to turn 2. It's a replay from the front. Gee, that was a good start from Simpson. Him and McCorkindale. Fantastic, wasn't it?
He just put the pressure on McCorkindale, didn't he? Squeezed him down to the inside at 1. And I think John just had to give way there. And look at McCorkindale dropping some wheels off the road. This is a great fight. Sliding the car around.
James Abella all over the back of the Horsley Park gun shop, puts the car to the inside, and just like a bullet, moves up a position.
That's a good pass. He's got to keep it together on the exit though and get that drive down the straight, because a poor exit out of that final corner will get it all wrong up at turn 2 where a driver can repass, but that's a good move. Gee, this kid's impressive. And the McElrea team, Lee Guy, Andy McElrea, and everyone working behind the scenes there. There's about 4,000 of them. They're a big outfit. They've got great raps on this young kid. Part of their driver development program that includes young guns like Matt Campbell, a graduate of this series, now racing in Porsche Carrera Cup. There's O'Keefe. This has been a good charge through the field from the back after those dramas earlier on today.
He's inside the top 10 now, the Dexian black, red and white entry. So head over the top of the tunnel, down this sweeping right hand of the corner that claimed him in race 2. There is Aaron Seaton, second, third generation Seaton now. Man, we're starting to get old.
It was great to see at Bathurst early this year at the Motor Festival. He ran that car in a production sports car race, and his dad and his granddad were there, which was just an amazing photo op, especially at Bathurst. And that's a look at James Abella executing a very nice move on John Goodacre.
Albeit last second, that could have ended in tears. Well done. Back to the front we go.
Jono Taylor chipping away now, and he's the next one to try and line up and get through on John Goodacre. We ride on board the 3 car.
He got his season best result of 6th in race 2. He's sitting there right now. The Orcon still number 3 car. Look how close he is to the wheel as he works his way around this 3.9 kilometre Sydney Motorsport Park.
New guy to the championship this year and relatively new to the sport as well. He's mates with Fraser Ross, the reigning champion of this series. I think we all knew he was something pretty special when he qualified 4th at the opening round at Sandown, Matt. Very, very impressive stuff. Couldn't get the race results together there, but he's been chipping away and learning and getting up to speed, and he's going to be good as this season goes on. Speaking of good, Ryan Simpson has absolutely streeted the field.
It's nearly 10 seconds in this race. You might think, well, it's only 10 seconds, but it's a much shorter distance than what they raced in race 1. He slides his way through turn 1.
Oh, this guy's so good to watch work behind the wheel of a good race car. He's fast, aggressive, and yet somehow it seems like he's smooth at the same time. And this fight for the minors continues with Goodacre under pressure from Jono Taylor. 997 GT3 Cup cars, about 450 horsepower, beautiful sound. 6-speed sequential shift gearbox, not the paddle shift like we see in Carrera Cup. So these are a little bit more physical to drive, if anything. They're a great racing car. Was that David Ryan parked off the side of the road? I think it was. The exit of turn 3. And how cool is the super slow-mo out of the hairpin? That's Dylan O'Keefe charging his way forward, and Ryan Simpson.
The excitement machine.
Centimetre perfect.
Absolutely. Just minimal steering wheel work as he comes out of that corner and down the final sequence of turns here. So edging closer towards the finish this one, and Ryan Simpson is shutting down this race by the lap.
He's a very smooth and controlled driver as we go back and look at a fight in the Class B cars, the Mary Sparks art car of Grant Sparks from Queensland, part of the McElrea stable. Wife Mary, a very accomplished artist, and did this amazing print last year of Warren Luff's Porsche Carrera Cup car, which I was fortunate enough to get a look at. Here's the fight. We're on the final lap. It's for P4, and it's Goodacre under pressure from Jono Taylor, who's been relentless in this race and not giving up.
Closes right in. Final lap, fastest point of this Sydney Motorsport Park course. If you're wondering where Ryan Simpson is, he's out of here. 11 seconds is the margin right now. And look how close he's come down. He's making it past. He doesn't. And Taylor spins. That was staying a long way back. On the braking point, it just went in too deep and spun the number 3.
That's the old Porsche pivot when you get the rear loose. Sometimes they're difficult to catch with all that weight hanging over the rear axle. They're a really well-balanced car, but when they go, they often go quickly. And that's a shame. He hasn't dropped that many spots. He should still be in the top 10. There's Tim Miles. He's another one to have made good progress forward. Didn't have a massively satisfying weekend at Winton, he told me. He said he was quite pleased to be at Sydney Motorsport Park. Likes this place. Simpson out in front. He's broken the lap record again. They've taken more than a second off the existing benchmark here at Sydney Motorsport Park. He broke the lap record on Saturday night's race. He's done it again in this one. He's broken more lap records than any driver in the entire Shannons Nationals this year. It's been a remarkable performance. And Ryan Simpson, at the start of race 2, he was last. At the end of race 3, he is first. Great performance, great drive by Ryan Simpson. He wins the battle. The war, I think, though, will go to John McCorkindale with a couple of seconds and a race win.
Well done, the length of the main straightaway for Simpson. That's his 6th race win of the year. James Abella coming through as well to pick up another great result here inside the top 3. Behind them was Emery and Goodacre. Dylan O'Keefe from the back got himself inside the top 6. But it's Ryan Simpson today, Krause. He's the man.
Sure is, in front of McCorkindale. Abella, career best result, P3 for him in race 3, backing up his win from Saturday night. Great performance. Aaron Seaton wins Class B with Jackson Evans just outside the top 10. Should be some pretty happy people down in Victory Lane after that one.
Yeah, they've turned around quite well for us. We were able to get the pole in the 3 wins, and it was very close racing between me and Jackson, and I'm very happy with the way it went.
Yeah, look, very happy. Obviously, we had a disappointing weekend at Winton. We had some car issues and bits and pieces, but we seemed to iron them out this weekend, and we were fairly speedy in qualifying, obviously, even against the pro guys. So, yeah, look, it was a solid weekend for us and a good batch of points.
Yeah, no, we're really stoked. It was really one of those weekends that we shouldn't have been anywhere. So, come away with a round win and the way it all fell out sort of helps us in the championship and consolidate some points.
It sure does. In fact, it's closed him right in on Ryan Simpson ahead of the next round at Queensland Raceway. Not much between 28 points between Simpson and McCorkindale. Jeff Emery in the mix, and He leads the elite standings over John Goodacre in a 1-point battle between the two of them, with Tim Miles in third. And the Class B fight continues between Aaron Seaton and Jackson Evans. There's not much between the two of those. Jim Campbell moving up into third. Brian Finn fourth after a competitive round here at Sydney Motorsport Park. There's more from the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge when we next race with the Shannons Nationals. We'll see them at Queensland Raceway in early August. A great weekend, some great results and some great racing. There's the website for more on the Shannons Australian Motor Racing Nationals. We'll see you at Queensland Raceway.
There'll be more action from the Shannons Nationals on next week's show, but coming up after the break, we stay at Sydney Motorsport Park for the second annual Retro Speed Fest.